जय जय सत। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं प्रजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्त राधाकांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरि हरि। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती गौरवाणी चारिणे निर्विशेषं। कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं यो तत्सत्। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you all for joining. So just a quick reminder, I mentioned that I think you are aware tomorrow is the most auspicious day of Narasimha Chaturdashi, one of the very beloved forms of the Lord for the devotees. So please observe for those who want to fast, fasting until sunset tomorrow. For Malaysia, it is 7:17 p.m. So today we are continuing the discussion of the Srimad Bhagavat. We completed the first 7 cantos in our last class. So by the blessings of the Lord and the Vaishnavas, we are now entering the domain of Canto 8. So amongst the various topics, so I am going to briefly, we'll be covering 8.1, the first chapter of 8th Canto today. It's not a very long chapter, 33 verses. But before that, like what is customary, we shall give a brief overview of what the 8th Canto is about. So we probably spend half the class on that and half the class on the first chapter. First chapter doesn't have much of philosophical discussion, so it should be relatively fast. So, as we have discussed multiple times, the Srimad Bhagavat has, or Puranas in general, deal with 10 topics. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Manvantara, Chanukatha, Nirodha, Mukti, Ashraya. So many topics, 10 topics. The Shastras say all Puranas deal with these 10 topics. Some Puranas deal with some of these topics, fewer, more, But the Bhagavad Puran, being a Mahapuran, deals with all the 10 topics. And while the 10 topics are kind of scattered across the whole Bhagavad, still there are certain cantos which predominantly focus on a particular aspect or a particular dimension. Like, especially third, fourth cantos deal so much with Sarga Visarga, second, third, fourth, primary and secondary creation, because the process of creation is expected so much. In the seventh canto, anybody remember seventh canto? What was the focus of the seventh canto? Anyone?
The fallacy of material life.
Yeah, but what was amongst the 10 topics of the Srimad Bhagavad that it covers? Which of the 10 topics was the prominent topic?
Prahlad Maharaj.
No, I'm talking about when I say topic, Sarga, Visarga, I'm talking about that list of 10.
Uti Prabhuji, Uti.
Yeah, thank you. It discussed Uti. Uti is impetus, the material and spiritual impetus. That was the focus of the discussion of the seventh canto. The focus of the discussion of the eighth canto is Manvantara, which is one of the topics of the Puranas. So, brief recap about what the Manvantaras are and how this topic suddenly arose from the conversation we were discussing Prahlad Narasimha. Then after that, 5-6 chapters we were discussing in 7th canto, the Varnashram system, very beautiful conversation between Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj. In the Rajasuya Yajna assembly, after Shishupal was killed, of course, very auspicious for him, because he was stopped of his offenses and he got perfection of merging into the body of the Lord. So, how does the topic transition here? But before I go there, let a brief recap. While I believe most of you are aware, just a quick recap. What is a Manvantara? So Lord Brahma lives for 100 years, and every day of his life of 100 years, this 100 years is roughly 311 trillion Earth years. Just to give you some sense of scale, 311 trillion years. So his day is known as Kalpa. It's 1 day. So like that he lives for 30 days is 1 month, 12 months is 1 year. Like that he lives for 100 years. Mahavishnu breathes out. Oh, everything is created. Brahmaji lives his entire lifetime of 100 years. Mahavishnu breathes in. Everything finished. Light on, light off. Light on, light off. One breath of Mahavishnu. When I say light on, I mean Prakash. Prakash means the manifestation of material energy. The spiritual energy is eternal, eternally existing. Parastasmat bhavo anyo vyakta vyaktat sanatana yacho sarveshu bhaveshu nakshatsu navinashyati. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita itself. But there is another nature. This nature is on, off, on, off, on, off. But there is another nature which is beyond manifestation and unmanifestation. On and off, on and off. Tadhamam paramam mama. That is my eternal abode. Anyway, that is not the focus of today's conversation, but in the on-off, that's an entire lifetime of Brahma, one breath of Mahavishnu. So 1 day out of that one lifetime of 100 years is a kalpa. And that kalpa is divided into daytime and nighttime. And the daytime, which is roughly half a day of Brahma, 12 hours, there are 1000 yuga cycles. What is the yuga cycle? One yuga cycle is one set of Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. Sometimes it's also known as Divya Yuga, sometimes it's called as Mahayuga. So 1000 times when this cycle repeats itself. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. 1,000 times. 12 hours of Brahma get over. It's a very, very long time. 4.32 billion years by Earth calculations. 4.32 billion years. So one day of Brahma, day plus night together is 8.64 billion years. You multiply that by 30 days into 12 years into, 12 months into 100 years, it works out to 311 trillion. Something, plus something, few billion. So that's the mathematics. You can do it on your calculator later. So these 1,000 Divya Yuga cycles are logically divided into 14 parts, 14. And each of these parts is known as a Manvantara. Manvantara, in very simple word, means the period of a Manu. The period of Manu. Now we'll come to what Manu and all that, because that's also briefly discussed at the beginning of this chapter. But roughly, if you divide 1,000 by 14, it comes to roughly 71 Yuga cycles. It's not an exact division, but roughly around there. So that's how the Acharyas explain. Around 71, maybe some Manvantara. It's not specified what is the plus minus, but it's around 71 Yuga cycles is a Manvantara. Now, what is the idea of Manvantara? Why these 14 divisions? Somehow the number 14 is a very interesting. There are 14 Manvantaras, there are 14 planetary systems. I don't know whether that has any connection. Just an observation to share. So each of this cycle of 71 Divya Yugas, which means 71 Satya Yuga, 71 Treta, 71 Dwapar, 71 Kali Yuga. Fact, 4, 71 times. That is a Manvantara. Quite long. Huge period. That period, in very simple words, if I don't want to be too technical, that is the period of universal administration. So like in our countries, some of us are Malaysians, some are Indians. Typically, government, of course, it doesn't necessarily change, but there's an opportunity to change a government every 5 years, for example. Potentially, there can be new prime minister, new set of ministers, new heads of various departments, and so on and so forth. At the universal level, at the level of administration of the universe, that's why Manu is known as administrator of the universe. Every day of Brahma is divided into 14 administrative periods. And each of this period has a distinct set of administrative heads who hold that position for their entire administrative period. That's the basic understanding. Now, why it was 71, why 14? I have not heard any explanation. This is how the setup is. Maybe there is, I don't know. At least I have never heard it. My last 30 years in ISKCON, why exactly it is 14 or, why 71 cycles. I don't know. Maybe there is some reason. So each of these cycles is known as a Manvantara period, which is led by a Manu. Manu, in simple words, is the administrator of the universe. Of course, Brahma is at top, but Brahma is taking care of the whole. He's like, the top executive head, but, he's not managing the day-to-day administration. You don't see Brahma. Chemicals go to Brahma for big problem, not for day-to-day administration. Day-to-day administration is taken care of by 6 parties. And this is described in this particular canto. So we'll come to what those 6 parties are later, because that is the subject matter of the first chapter of the 8th canto. But again, going back to the overview of the 8th canto. Each of this period is a Manvantara. So in this Manvantara, apart from the Manu and the demigods, because demigods also change every Manvantara cycle. Indra changes every Manvantara cycle. The Devatas change. The names of the position are same. There is still an Agni, there is still an Indra, there is still a Vayu, there is still a Varuna, there is still a Surya Dev. There are still the Saptarishis. There is still a Manu. But the people, the souls, the entities who are occupying those positions are different. And the Puranas list these people who are the current administrators of the universe in this Manvantara. Each and every position is listed. This one, who's the son of this one, is this one. It's all known. Who are the seven sages in this Manvantara? Who is the Manvantara avatar? All this is there. So at the end of the seventh canto, as eighth canto begins, Parikshit Maharaj is very curious. Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadev Goswami, oh, Guru Maharaj, oh, Shukadev Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj is always looking for an excuse to hear more and more about the glories and pastimes of the Lord. He doesn't want the class to stop. He wants the class to stop when 7 days ends so that he can live the world. Gayata Vishnu Gatha. Chanting the glories of the Lord. He wants to leave the body. He doesn't want the class to end. He's not thinking Prasad time. Prabhu, what time the fast breaks? Fast break time. He's fasting for all the 7 days, 7 nights. No food, no water. Remembering the Lord, he wants to leave this one. That is the stature. And he didn't take any time, please. He didn't take a break. So, of course, these things are possible in those ages. They are very, very extraordinary personalities. We cannot imitate that. So he says that so far you have described wonderful pastimes from the Swayambhuva Manvantar. Swayambhuva is the first Manvantar of this day of Brahma, where Swayambhuva Manu, who's the son of Lord Brahma, became the first Manu. And he also described in some details the sons of the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu. Correct? If you remember, we discussed about Priyavrat Maharaj, then we discussed about Uttama, Uttanapad, Uttama. Uttanapad is the father of Dhruva. Uttama is the brother of Dhruva. And then so much has been discussed in terms of the descendants and the kings and the incarnations that have been associated. You have been so focused on Swayambhuva Manvantar. Please tell me, I want to know what happened in other Manvantars. So many Manvantars have passed. I want to know what happened in the 6 previous Manvantaras, because we are in the 7th one. What is happening in this Manvantara and what will happen in the future Manvantaras? That is the intro to this canto. That is the beginning of this canto. And what happened means not, who won the IPL match, who won this election. No, not that kind of news. Which were the top hit movies. Oh, this Manvantara Sholay was the most hit movie. How many weekends was it on the screens? No, not that kind of news. The interest of Parikshit Maharaj is tell me about the Lord's glories and the Lord's appearances. Tell me about the various Manvantaras. I am more interested in the Manvantara avatars in these Manvantaras that the Lord took. Tell me so. So this particular canto deals with a broad description of the Manvantaras and specific pastimes from various Manvantaras of exceptional Manvantara avatars. And when you talk about Manvantara avatars, the avatars we cannot talk in isolation. We have to talk about what they did, which means there was either a demon that they killed or some devotee that they saved or gave mercy to. So all these beautiful pastimes come into picture. So this canto is full of those kind of narrations. Description of the Manvantaras, what is a Manvantara, who are the various categories of administrators in Manvantaras, who are the various administrators across various Manvantaras, who are the Manvantara avatars, what pastimes they perform. That is what it canto is about. So what kind of pastimes you will find? Gajendra, because Lord Hari is also Manvanta avatar. The Lord Hari who saved Gajendra is a Manvantara avatar. The Mohini Murti pastime is coming in this particular the churning of the milk ocean and leading to Mohini Murti's appearance. Because churning of the milk ocean, the Lord's incarnation, Manvanta avatar who facilitated that pastime is Lord Ajita. That story comes and connected with the churning of the milk ocean. Not only the Manvanta avatar is involved, but so many other avatars are involved. Dhanvantari appeared. Dhanvantari is an incarnation of the Lord. Then Mohini Murti appeared towards the conclusion of that pastimes. So there were so many incarnations connected to that one pastime. But the Manvantara avatar is Lord Ajita. Of course, these pastimes we'll discuss in detail in specific chapters. I'm giving an overview of the 8th canto now, out of the first chapter. First chapter is an intro to the 8th canto. And we'll come back to the first chapter in 5 more minutes. So what are the pastimes that are discussed? Again, Gajendra's pastime. The Samudra Manthan pastime, along with Kurma at the bottom, Ajita at the top, Mohini appearing. So many beautiful lessons in the Samudra Manthan pastime. So that is discussed. Lord Vaman and Bali Maharaj pastime. Lord Vaman is the Manvantara avatar of this Manvantara, Vaivasvata Manvantara. Upendra, the younger brother of Indra. That is Lord Vamana, who's currently also still situated in Sutala Loka, guarding Bali Maharaj's entrance. And who's this Bali? This is mentioned also here in this canto. Bali is the one who's going to become the next Indra. So he's in line for the next Manvantara. 7th Manvantara, currently Mr. Purandar is Indra. Next Manvantara, Bali is going to become the Indra. So like that beautiful pastimes of various Manvantara incarnations of the Lord. Yes, more or less. And last, but not the least, Matsya incarnation, who appears twice in this Manvantara. Matsya is also discussed. So these are the various Leelas which are covered in 8th canto. And the way these Leelas arise is because this canto began with a question by Parikshit Maharaj. Tell me about the various Manvantaras and the various appearances of the Lord across the Manvantara. So strictly, it's not that he covered each and every Manvantara and gave 14 pastimes. Not like that. He has not done that. He gives an overview, conceptual, and picks up a few pastimes, especially the ones I mentioned. So it's a very, very beautiful canto, replete with very sweet pastimes of the Lord, especially of the Manvantara avatars and the various incarnations of the Lord associated with. So we shall now start with the canto proper. As I mentioned, the chapter begins with the question which I mentioned. You described about Swayambhuva Manu. Very wonderful. I really enjoyed so many cantos you are talking about Swayambhuva Manu. Can you tell me more? What about the other Manus and Mother? I am so excited. Huh? to hear more about the activities and appearance of the Lord in various Manvantaras. These pastimes of the Lord are so purifying. Not only describe the pastimes that the Lord has performed and is performing in this Manvantara, I want to know future also. What forms the Lord will appear in future Manvantaras. So Shukdev Goswami starts. Says, I already described some things about the Manvantara avatars, about the Swayambhuva Manvantar already. Swayambhuva Manu is the first Manu in this day of Brahma, and his Manvantara is Swayambhuva Manvantara. So that Manvantara, Swayambhuva Manu had two daughters, Akuti and Devahuti. And from the wombs of Akuti and Devahuti, two special incarnations of the Lord appear. From the womb of Akuti appeared the incarnation of the Lord, who was the Manvantara avatar. His name is Yajna, also known as Yajna Murti. And from the womb of Devahuti appeared the great teacher of yoga and Sankhya philosophy, Kapila Muni. Both of these incarnations of the Lord were grandsons of Swayambhuva Manu. They were entrusted with preaching about religion and knowledge. Yajna and Kapila. So about Kapila, we have already discussed so much in the third canto. I have explained to you in such great detail, O Parikshit Maharaj. So I will not go into that now. But Yajna, who was the Manvantara avatar of Swayambhuva Manu, let me now briefly describe the wonderful, glorious activities of the son of Akuti. So Akuti is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. The great character of Swayambhuva Manu is, even though he's the principal administrator of the Manvantara, the son of Lord Brahma, so rich, so powerful, so beautiful, so successful, he was not at all interested in sense enjoyment. When the time came, he just gave up his kingdom. I'm not interested, he gave it up and he entered the forest along with his wife, took Vanaprastha. So we've been discussing so much of Vanaprastha. He took up the Vanaprastha ashram along with his wife. So this is one of the things about Vanaprastha. So a person doesn't have to give up or abandon his wife, or the wife doesn't have to abandon the husband if they want to be in Vanaprastha. But the point is, both have to abandon a life of sense enjoyment. That is important. So that is expected. So when they went to the forest, now actually this particular chapter begins by explaining the glories of Lord Yajna. In brief, Lord Kapila's pastimes are discussed in great detail, but it is said Swayambhuva Manu severe austerities. Now the purpose of these austerities, and we have discussed this earlier also in Vanaprastha, is mainly to develop detachment from body, bodily concept of life, and the thirst for enjoying material life. So that one becomes purified. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhayed yasmat brahma saukyam tanan. Like Rishabhadev said. Human form of life is for austerities. नायम देहो देह भाजाम लोके कष्टान कामान अर्हति विडभुजान ये तपो दिव्यम पुत्रका येन सत्वम शुद्धयेद यस्मात् ब्रह्म सौख्यम. So Vanaprastha is the time for those who have gone through Grahastha seriously work on purification. So Swayambhuva Manu is already, he is Manvantara, he is himself an empowered incarnation of the Lord as a Manu. A Shaktyavesh. He is standing on one foot, doing austerities to detach himself. Where do we see politicians and kings retiring? Even what to speak of material politics, even within spiritual societies, it is so difficult for somebody to give up his position. People feel threatened if somebody else, oh, what if he becomes the leader? What if all this happens because one still is in the mood of enjoying puja labha pratishta. So Manu gave it all up. Standing on one foot, he was performing. It is said on the bank of the river Sunanda, with one leg on the ground and the other one folded. For 100 years, he performed austerities. And beautiful prayers. See, these austerities are not just hard, materialistic, not, I shouldn't say materialistic, wrong word, are not just hard austerities of jnana or speculative knowledge, but devotional austerities, which means austerities aimed at pleasing the Lord. So they are actually a form of bhakti because across this whole austerity, he was not simply standing there with, on one foot like the demons do to acquire some power. He was continuously praying with great devotion to the Supreme Lord across those 100 years. And the summary of what he was praying is very beautiful described in the beginning of this chapter. Very beautiful. He summarizes very beautifully the real transcendental nature of the Lord. So Manu was praying that this whole cosmic manifestation is manifested by the Supreme Lord. It is not that the Lord was created by the world. The world is created by the Lord. The Lord is behind the scenes as a silent witness to everything. He knows everything, but no one knows him. Krishna says the same thing in the Bhagavad Gita. I know everybody, but me nobody knows. As the super soul, he pervades everything, holds everything, animate and inanimate. And as such, the Lord is the only owner, controller, and enjoyer of everything. That's why no living entity should claim ownership of this world or try to enjoy this world more than what is his quota. Correct? Just like we go to some party. There's a buffet. We go eat our share of the food, and we have our meal. Then we come back. Don't just go to a party and say, so much food is there, I'll pack everything and take back home. Tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kasya suddhanam. Yes, you are entitled to your quota. You have been given this body. The Lord has made arrangement for everybody's needs. Be happy with that. Don't be excessively greedy. Don't infringe on the property of others. Magrida kasya suddhanam. This sentiment is echoed across the scriptures, even in Ishopanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkinchit jagatyam jagattena taktena bhunjita magrida kasya siddhanam. And that Lord is continuously as the witness, seeing everything. He's watching each and every action, witness to the thought of each and every person. He's never affected by what happens in the material world. His power and control is never diminished. He doesn't decay. He doesn't become old. As the Paramatma is situated not only in each and every particle of existence, he's situated within us. He's the Atma of the Atma. He's the Parama Atma. Always situated as the friend of each and every living entity. Suradas Sarvadehina. This Lord existed before creation, exists during creation, and after creation. He doesn't change. Creation comes and goes, light on, light off. He's the one who puts light on and he puts light off. When the light is on, the world can't see him, but he can see the world. He's self-effulgent, he is changeless, he is unborn, he's the beginning of everything, and he's the end and the resting place of everything. Everything rests on him. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, everything rests on me, just like pearls are strung on the thread. And that is why, for people who want to reach that Supreme Lord, who's in everything but still invisible, there are generally two stages in which people approach him. First stage of approaching him commonly is that by people perform dharmic activities first with a desire for fruit. Then one graduate from that sakama karma or sakama karma yoga to become nishkama karma yoga. From iha karma to aniha karma. Iha karma means karma for getting something in the iha, in this material world. Aniha is to do your duty as a dedication to the Supreme Lord. That kind of nishkama karma yoga leads one to liberation and transcendental knowledge. Without giving up the desire for fruits, one cannot reach the level of liberation. Because only aniha karma, only nishkama karma yoga and higher. Bhakti is higher than nishkam karma yoga because nishkam karma yoga is included within bhakti. They produce no reaction. Akarma. Karmanopi bodhavyam cha vikarmanah. Akarmo api bodhavyam gahana karmanopati. Krishna says. So even though the Lord is full of opulence, he has nothing to gain from this material world. Yet he continuously creates, maintains, dissolves, and continuously repeats the cycle for the material world, just to give all of us entangled souls an opportunity to liberate ourselves and come back to him. Just like the Lord is never entangled by the material energy, similarly, those devotees who are dedicated to the Lord, who are surrendered to him, who serve him in loving devotion, they are also never entangled. That is why the Lord, as well as the pure devotees, when they perform their pastimes and activities within this world, they do not produce any karma because they have no desire to enjoy the fruits of activities. But an ordinary materialistic person is entrapped in this material. But the Lord still acts whenever he appears in this world just to set the right example and the right path of religion. So everyone must follow Lord's example. So all that we discussed in the last 5 minutes is what Swayambhuva Manu was praying and glorifying the Lord as he was standing on one leg. If we stand on one leg for anything more than 5 seconds, we will remember everything else other than the prayers. First thing which will be there and probably the only thing is, oh God, my leg is so painful. Beyond that, perhaps very few of us can think anything else. The only other thing we'll think is, which idiot told me to do this kind of a tapasya? That thought may come in our head. To speak of 100 years of standing like this and praying with great devotion, with this kind of an understanding of the Lord. This is the understanding of the supreme truth. So in trance, with deep absorption, without any material distractions, Swayambhu Manu continued to worship the Lord. He was chanting mantras of the Vedas from the Upanishads. And as he was doing like this, he was doing on the bank of the Sunanda river. It was a forest area. Some Rakshasas and Asuras, they saw him. Rakshasas especially are those who are fond of eating human flesh. They're cannibals, demoniac cannibals. Not all Asuras eat human meat. But those Asuras who eat human meat are known as Rakshasa. Ravan was a Rakshas. He would actually eat human flesh. Where one time he threatened Sita Devi, if you don't accept my proposal of becoming my wife lawfully, I will have you chopped and served me tomorrow for breakfast. So some of these Rakshasas, they pounced upon Swayambhuva Manu. They wanted to devour him. They rushed towards him with great speed. Swayambhuva Manu is such a great devotee. The Lord who is sitting in the heart immediately sent help or he gave help himself in the form of appearing as Yajna, the son of Akuti. Yajna, along with his sons, the Yamas, they appeared on the scene. They saw the Rakshasas attacking Swambhu Manu to devour him, and they slaughtered these Rakshasas. So that is a beautiful pastime. Yajna is famous as that incarnation of the Lord who saved his devotee Swambhu Manu from these Rakshasas. Soon after that, it is said in the Swambhu Manvantara, this Yajna, this incarnation, the son of Ruchi and Akuti. Akuti is the mother, the father's name is Ruchi. Ruchi was a great sage that age in the Swambhu Manvantara. Ruchi and Akuti. He became the Indra. Yajna was the Indra in the Swambhuva Manvantaras. And he started to rule the heavenly. So that is the Swambhu Manvantara. So after kind of summarizing about what happened in the Swambhuva Manvantara, Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami starts summarizing the first four Manvantaras. So what are the first four Manvantaras? First is Swayambhuva Manvantara, next is Swarochisha Manvantara, then third is Uttama, fourth is Tamasa. He briefly described four Manvantaras and who are the principal personalities who rule this Manvantara. So it is said in each Manvantara, before I go into that description, this is important to know. Hare Krishna, excuse me. In each Manvantara, there are 6 categories of personalities who form the administrative team of the universe. So, what are the 6 categories? Manu, Manuputra, Devaha, Sureshwaraha, Rishayaha, Amshavataraha. Manu, the chief Manu, just like Swayambhuva Manu. The Manu is the main ruler of the Manvantara. Manuputraha, the sons of Manu, the Devatas, and the Lord of the Devatas. 2 categories. There are so many Devatas, and there is one king of the Devatas, Indra. There is one Indra, and there are various Devatas. 7 Rishis, Sapta Rishi. Every Manvantara has a set of 7 Rishis. What is the role of the 7 Rishis? Every time the Satya Treta Dwapar Kali cycle happens, when Kali Yuga transitions back into Satya Yuga, the 7 sages play a very important role in re-establishing Sanatan Dharma. The Sapta Rishis are alive across the Manvantara, and they appear and re-establish Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, at the beginning of every Satya Yuga. Of course, across the Divya Yuga cycle, they may be involved in various other pastimes, but that's their main function. Manu, of course, is the leader of the whole Manvantara. The Devatas, we already know, they are taking charge of various aspects of administrative affairs, including the accepting of sacrificial offerings and providing various gifts of nature in return. Indra is Sureshwaraha, the king of the Devatas. And then there is the Manuputras who are assisting Manu, and they perform yajnas and follow dharma and teach and support the administration. And then the Amsha Avatar. The Amsha Avatar term used here is what we are referring to as Manvantara Avatar. Because Manvantara Avatar often is not directly the Lord himself. Sometimes he may be the Lord personally, sometimes it may be an empowered personality, but it's an Amsha, part of God. Amshavataraha Manvantara. So for the first four Manvantaras, this description is given. So in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, what is described? Swayambhuva, who is the son of Brahma, was the Manu. The Yamas were created by Daksha and who were the sons of Yajna were the Devatas. Manuputras, Uttanapad and Priyavrat, who were the sons of Swayambhuva Manu, were the Manuputras. Indra is Yajna, we discussed that. And seven rishis were headed by Marichi and other sages. Who are the Amshavataras who appeared in this Manvantara? Kapila and Yajna. That also we just discussed. The main Manvantara avatar is Yajna, but Kapila is one of the Amshavataras who appeared. And these avatars taught religion and knowledge. Kapila Dev did not kill any demons, but Yajna killed demons as well. And we discussed that just. The second Manvantara, which means as soon as 71 Yuga cycles got completed, the universal administration changed, the Manu changed, the Devatas changed, the Manuputra, the Indra, the Rishis, and again new incarnations of the Lord. So second Manvantara is Swarochisha. Who's this Swarochisha? Swarochisha is a personality who was the son of Agni Dev from the previous cycle. This Swarochisha became the Manu in the second Manvantara. The Devatas were headed by Tushita and others. Dyumat, Shusena and Rochishmat and others were the Manuputras. Indra, in this Yuga, in this Manvantara, the Indra was Rochana. Who's this Rochan? Rochan was the son of Yajna, the previous Indra, as well as the Manvantara incarnation. And there are various Saptarishis such as Urja, Stambha and others. The incarnation of the Lord who appeared in Swarochisha Manvantara is known as Vibhu. Who's this Vibhu? Vibhu is the son of Rishi Vedashira and his wife Tushita. So these personalities we have not heard much, so we don't know much about them. I'm sure in the Shastras there are, and other Puranas, there are narrations about them. So this particular incarnation appeared in the form of a brahmachari. And what is mentioned here is the special characteristic of this particular incarnation of Vibhu Brahmachari is that he instructed 88,000 saints on how to control their senses and practice austerities. This is briefly mentioned. So that is what this Vibhu Brahmachari, who was the Manvantara avatar in Swarochisha Manvantara. In the next Manvantara, so 71 cycles and one more 71 cycles, the third Manvantara is known as Uttama Manvantara because Uttama, the brother of Dhruva, the son of Uttanapad, he became Uttama, the son of Priyavrat. My bad. Uttama, the son of Priyavrat, became the Manu. And there were a different set of Devatas. The names are mentioned. I will not go through all of that. Then there were different set of Manuputras. The Amshavatara or the Manvantara avatar was a personality known as Satyasena, the son of Dharma and Sunrita. And he killed various miscreants who troubled various people. Not much detail is mentioned. So Satyasena was the Manvantara avatar. And the fourth Manvantara, which is going to be very interesting because a lot of discussion is going to happen on this in the next chapter onwards. Not much is discussed about the second Manvantara and the third Manvantara, about Vibhu and Satyasena. But Hari, who is the Manvantara incarnation in the Tamasa Manvantara. Who's this Tamasa? Tamas is the son of Priyavrat. Uttam also is the son of Priyavrat. Tamasa from the next Manvantara, fourth Manvantara, is also the son of Priyavrat. So Hari is the Manvantara avatar who is the son of Harini and Harimedha. Harimedha is his father, Harini is his mother. And what is the speciality of this Manvantara avatar Hari? The speciality is Hari is the incarnation of the Lord who saved Gajendra from the crocodile. And that is one of the first pastimes which is going to be discussed in a fair amount of detail, starting with second chapter. So as soon as Parikshit Maharaj is hearing so attentively, as soon as he mentioned about Hari and Gajendra, Parikshit Maharaj immediately tells Shukadev Goswami, please, I want to know in detail about this elephant Gajendra and how he was saved by Lord Hari when he was attacked by a crocodile. तथा कथासु महत्पुण्यम धन्यम स्वस्त्यायनम शुभम यत्र यत्र उत्तम श्लोको भगवान गीयते हरि. Very beautiful shloka. Those narrations are greatly pious, glorious and auspicious and all good, in which Lord Uttama Shloka, the Supreme Lord Hari, is glorified. So in this way, when this mentioned, only 4 Manvantaras were described so far, not even all. In the first chapter, Parikshit Maharaj has Shukdev Goswami has just gotten started. He just described 4. As soon as the name, Yajna he briefly described in the first chapter, Sarochisha and Uttama Manvantara, Parikshit Maharaj did not ask any elaborate questions. But Tamasa Manvantara, this Hari, Gajendra, is something I am very excited to know about. So please tell me about this. And that's how next chapter onwards, for the next few chapters, the discussion moves to Tamasa Manvantara. And within the Tamasa Manvantara, the story of Gajendra and Lord Hari. What is Tamas Manvantara? Tamas Manvantara is the 4th Manvantara. Which Manvantara we are situated now? 7th. So this story is not of this Manvantara. Gajendra's story is not of this Manvantara, not of the previous, not of the previous of the previous, but of the previous of the previous of the previous. Correct? 7, 5, 4. Sorry, previous of the previous. Sorry, 7, 6, 5, 4. So yeah, previous of the 4. 4 Manvantaras earlier, or 3 Manvantaras earlier, you can say, if you exclude the current one. So you can see when the Bhagavad and the Puranas are talking about pastimes of the Lord, they are not just talking about, they are not talking about just the current Kali Yuga. What to speak of the current Kali Yuga or the last 5,000, 10,000 years? Many of these pastimes of the Lord's incarnation and these great personalities are not even from this Divya Yuga. Sometimes they are not even from this Manvantara. They are from a previous Manvantara, and some descriptions of the pastimes are not even from this Kalpa. They're not even from this day of Brahma. Because the conversations which are recorded in the scriptures are by conversations of certain personalities who are living across many Manvantaras. Of personalities like Lord Brahma, who are living across the entire lifetime of the universe. For example, Lord Varaha has appeared twice. There is a Rakta Varaha and there is a Shveta Varaha. In this particular day of Brahma, the Lord has appeared in a white form, Varaha, Shveta Varaha. That is why the current Kalpa is known as Shveta Varaha Kalpa. But the same incarnation of the Lord had appeared in a reddish Varaha form in another Kalpa, in another day of Brahma. And that is briefly mentioned. Perform a pastime of a similar nature. So the Lord's incarnations also with slight variations appear across. That's what Krishna says. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Across yugas, and the yugas may span manvantaras, the yugas may span kalpas. Yugas may sometimes, sorry, the incarnations of the Lord in the various yugas may sometimes even span creations. So just this is mind-boggling what kind of history our scriptures give. That is why they are known as Puranas. Itihas refers to history of the current time, especially the Mahabharata. But Puran is ancient history. And ancient is not referring to just 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, but previous yugas, previous manvantaras, sometimes even previous days of Brahma. So, with that, we will conclude the chapter because the chapter concludes with this question. Please tell me. And when Parikshit Maharaj asked this kind of a question to Shukadev Goswami then started in the second chapter, narrate beautiful pastime of Gajendra Moksha. So again, very quickly, we are in Shvetavaraha Kalpa, the day of Brahma, and in this day of Brahma, we are in the seventh Manvantara, which is known as the Vaivasvata Manvantara. Seventh Manvantara. 6 Manvantaras have passed. In the seventh Manvantara, we are in the 28th Mahayuga, and we are in the Kali Yuga of the 28th Mahayuga. And we are in the Yuga Sandhyayam. We are in the Yuga Sandhya. Kali Yuga proper hasn't even started. We are in the Yuga Sandhya. Only 5,000 years of Kali Yuga have gone out of 4,32,000 years. We think things are bad. Huh? So we can imagine what things will become later. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to stop now. It's 10 p.m. sharp. And you all have taken time out on a Saturday evening. So eager to hear. Like Parikshit Maharaj is so eager to hear. You're also kind to spare your precious time listening to a unqualified person like me. So I am very, very grateful. So any questions, any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Amit Prabhu.
How long does this Yuga Sandhya last?
There is a period given, good question. I don't remember on top of my head, but there is a Yuga Sandhya period which is given. I will have to research, Prabhu. But I think it's much longer. It is not 5,000 odd years. The period is, I think, much longer than that. So
Thank you.
Sandhya, in very simple words, Sandhya is a transition period. Correct? Just like Sandhya, uh, in ordinary, not only in Sanskrit, but in ordinary Hindi, Marathi, we say Sandhya Kal. Sandhya Kal. Sandhya means the joining of the day and the night. It's neither day nor is it night. It is the sunset time, around the sunset time. So that is Sandhya. Sandhya is the joining period. Sandhi means to join. Sandhya is that period of Sandhi. Transition period. Is it day? No. Can't quite say day. Is it night? Can't quite say night. It's not fully dark. I can't see the sun also. The sky is lit, but there is no sun. Sandhya. So in the transition between the Dwapar and this happens not just between Dwapar and Kali. Every Yuga has a Sandhya period as transition happens. Satya to Treta is also a Sandhya period. Treta to Dwapar is a Sandhya. Dwapar to Kali is a Sandhya. And Kali to Satya will also be a Sandhya. So the transition gets effected over the Sandhya period. But yeah, there is a period. It's very specific. I will need to check. I don't know or remember on top of my head. If anyone here knows, they can share. I don't know on top of my head.
Prabhuji, I heard 10,000 years of Dwapar. This is a 5,000 going on, and maximum 10,000 is the time for the Dwapar, Prabhu.
Huh?
Means 10,000 years I heard it is Sandhya time, Sandhya duration, Prabhu.
No, no. You have to give me reference. You
No, I don't
mentioned
have any reference. I heard so.
the
I will
10,000
check it.
is 10,000 period is the period of the golden age,
Okay, okay.
not of Sandhya. You have to be very careful. Anything you speak, you must be able to give reference.
Oh, sure.
See, everything I speak, I quote, right? Do I simply speak?
Yes.
Everything I say, you can challenge me on anything. I can either show a scriptural quote or I can show what acharyas are saying. If I give my opinion, I will tell I'm giving my opinion if I don't know. And that's
I agree.
okay. Yeah, yeah. So, sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, you have researched something you want to share? Prabhu, who was about to speak just now? Tarun Prabhu, I'll come back to you. Did anybody else wanted to add to this point? Okay, okay, never mind. So, Tarun Prabhu, back to you. You had a question? You had any other question? Or you're done?
Yes, Prabhu. One question I have. Prabhuji, this question is more to a feeling, Prabhu. Like this, we read that this question is on identity, like we were
Hmm.
discussing. Like we know that we are a part of Lord, and there are different deities that has been explained. But actually, feeling comes here. This is correct. We are part of the Lord, but actually, who we are in general, and I feel this is a part of the means. I'm not sure if I'm able to explain my question clearly. I
Hmm.
generally feel that looks like a lost identity sometimes, and want to know
Sorry,
who am
what
I?
identity?
A lost identity,
Lost
and
identity. No, what is
and
lost identity?
means sometimes I want to know actually who am I? I know that I'm a parcel of God, but it looks like it is an answer. Something is missing in it.
No, no, nothing is missing from the answer. Realization is missing. Our realization of the answer is missing. Answer from the answer, nothing is missing, but we are missing the realization. Just like if I ask somebody who has, I have never tasted a mango,
Yes.
and somebody says the mango, how does the mango taste? Can you describe how the mango tastes? At most, you can say sweet and aromatic. Can you give more information
Yes.
than that on how a mango tastes? You can only say a
No.
mango tastes like a mango. That's all you can. Can you just think about this question? Can you describe how a mango tastes? Or why to say a mango? Anything. A banana, how a banana tastes. Describe how a banana tastes.
Hmm, it tastes
So,
like banana. Yeah.
it tastes like banana, right? So the point is, certain things will not make full sense because you don't have a realization. The question is
Mhm.
not that the words cannot fully capture the experience of that truth because words have their limitation in terms of conveying and that experience is transcendental because there is no comparison of that experience to any experience of the material world. That's why there's no equivalence. That's why we try to speculate with our mind.
Yeah.
So that's why we say what we are. That's why the Shastras describe it as Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternal existence. Chit means
Yes.
conscious awareness. And Ananda means
Mhm.
its nature itself is bliss. And these three qualities you only find in the self, the Atma and the Paramatma.
Mhm.
Yeah. But these are not substances that you can point to because this whole world is Asat. This whole world is Achit and the whole world is Nirananda. So these are matters of realization. We know what it's very actually very simple.
Mhm.
The Chit aspect we can experience to some degree immediately, right? What is Chit? We are aware, we are conscious.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
The Sat aspect we cannot fully ascertain because Sat means eternal. So that we may not be able to ascertain. But once we realize our nature to be transcendental to matter, then we understand and realize that how I am beyond space, time, and matter, and that's why I'm never born and never die. So that's a matter of realization. And Ananda is the nature of the soul. When one goes deep down, one realizes that I am itself the source of the greatest happiness. Why? Because I'm part and parcel of the Lord. You understand?
Then Prabhuji, why do we forget every time? Means we remember this is a part, but we do forget.
So what have we been discussing all this while? For last so many years, we have
No,
discussed 1001 times why we have forgotten. So you tell
because
me the
we
answer
are
to that
conditioned
question.
souls. We are
Why did we become conditioned? I'm asking you.
because of yeah, I remember now. Yes,
Ah.
because this is our wish. Oh yeah,
Because we
I
decided,
can
yeah,
agree. Yes,
correct,
yes,
yeah,
this is our wish, not the Lord's wish.
correct.
Yes, you're
So
right.
because we are
Yes,
part and parcel, our nature is Satchidananda, but because we wanted to become Vimukha from the Lord and enjoy independent of the Lord facilitated that expression of our intent by creating this material universe where we have an opportunity to forget Him. He's doing this not as a punishment, He's doing it to facilitate the
yes,
exercise of our free will. And when we reverse exercise our free will and say, no, our Lord, I want to come back to you, the Lord will facilitate that also.
yeah. I got my
Nityo
question. Yeah,
nityanam chetanas
correct.
chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. I am the fulfiller of the desires of all living entities. I fulfill the desires to end, to forget me also, I only have to fulfill. Even when the jiva wants to
Yes,
forget
yes.
God, he needs God's help to forget him. So we are
No,
so
no.
because there's nothing beyond the Lord. The Lord has to facilitate everything. He has to come as Paramatma in our heart and remind you want to forget me, no? Okay, I'll cover you over. Maya. I'll give you a false ego. I'll give you a material body. Now you enjoy. What do you want to enjoy?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do this? I give you this body. Try to enjoy. Are you happy? Not very happy, but maybe I want to try a bit more. Okay, okay. Take one more birth. You want to become fish and try? Yeah, yeah, that sounds very exciting. Let me become a fish. Yeah. So the Lord is continuously facilitating until the Jiva turns back and says, Lord, problem. I have been going round and round and round and round, never hitting the jackpot
Mm.
of the happiness that I am seeking. Can I know why? The Lord will say, because you are meant to be in the spiritual energy, you are meant to be connected to me. You have willfully tried to forget. So turn back, connect back to me. I am the source of unlimited bliss. Ramante yogino nante satyananda chidatmani iti ramapade naso parabrahma abhi. The yogis are deriving unlimited transcendental bliss by connecting to that Supreme Lord. Ramante yogino anante satyananda chidatmani. That is why the Supreme Lord is known as Rama. That is the definition of the word Rama, according to the scriptures. So the jiva which is bahirmukha has to be antarmukha. He has to realize what his real identity is. Once he realizes his identity is as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, the function of the Atma becomes clear. If I'm an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, what is my function? To serve Krishna.
To serve
And,
Krishna.
and when one is situated back in his constitutional function, just like, what is the duty of a fire? To burn and be hot. That is a natural state. The fire is most happy when it is doing that. If the fire tries to flow like water and become cooling, then it's no longer fire. If it artificially tries, it is going to become frustrated. So the jiva who tries to enjoy matter ultimately becomes frustrated. So that is why these are the fundamentals. This we should never forget. We have to continuously remember why we are here. Whether we remember all the Manvantara avatars, whether we remember how many Divya Yugas make a Manvantara, these are all nice things to know. But this is the
Mm.
most fundamental understanding. Why? Like Sanatan Goswami asked, right, Lord Chaitanya,
Mm-hmm.
who am I? If the whole world says I'm very learned, I'm great prime minister, I'm very learned, I know so many languages, I am very, very qualified, successful, rich person. But I am telling you, I don't know who I am. Kene Ami, who am I? Why am I suffering threefold
Mm-hmm.
miseries of material existence? How can I get out of it? That is knowledge. Answer to these questions.
Yes,
What
Prabhu.
will bring ultimate auspiciousness to me? These questions and the answers to these questions we cannot forget. If we forget, we get entrapped in Maya. All other details we may remember, we may not remember.
Yes, bro. Slowly, actually, sometimes, yeah, it happens. Means, uh, when you're sitting together, when we are listening your classes and we are reading it remains in the mind, and then we just once again forget, and then we once again, when we sit in the association, it reminds. It is happening very frequently, Prabhu.
That's how it starts with. At least you are remembering Krishna so much more than what it was 5 years ago. Correct?
Yeah, correct.
So you're progressing. So slowly, as we practice, the remembrance of Krishna will increase and the forgetfulness of Krishna will decrease. It is not going to
Mm.
happen overnight. I heard in Bhagavatam class today, one should always remember Krishna. I flipped on the switch. Prabhu, now I never forget Krishna. That happen. This happens only for those who are already perfected souls who are temporarily covered over by the material energy. It doesn't happen for sadhakas like this. We have to go through the process of slowly upgrading ourselves. More remembering Krishna, less forgetting Krishna. Huh? So be
Yes.
happy. So many people are not even thinking of this subject matter. But you are so fortunate. You are actually a very glorious person. Even
No,
though
I'm not Prabhu. I'm
we,
downtrodden. I'm no.
we may think we are, and at one level, it is correct. We are all downtrodden and insignificant when we compare ourselves with those who are at the platform of very advanced devotees. But at the same time, if you consider in Kali Yuga the average quality of the jivas, then those who are regularly chanting the holy names with faith, hearing the Bhagavatam, wanting to develop love for Krishna, they are less than 0.0001% of humanity. What to speak of all the living entities on earth? Very, very, very. So, in that sense, we are very fortunate. Huh? In that sense, we are very blessed. May not be great from the highest standard, but we have come a long way. Can you imagine? We are in the 0.0001% or less of the living entities on this planet. We are the cream of the cream of the cream of the cream. I'm not saying this to exalt ourselves. I'm just saying how rare even the little Krishna consciousness that we have is. So, so if we continuously keep comparing ourselves with standards of greatest of pure devotees like Prahlad and Dhruva, will always remain frustrated. Sometimes it's good to also admire our good fortune. Not out of a sense of pride that I am great, but that I have become so fortunate by mercy of Guru Krishna and the Vaishnavas that I am doing the activities of the Bhagavatas, if not 24 hours a day, at least a couple of hours in a day. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big thing. And even a little bit of devotional service done selflessly on this planet has a tremendous impact on the whole environment and the consciousness of the whole planet. So that is the beginning of the good fortune of the Jiva. So you're doing wonderful. Even though we all have a long way to go, at least we are admitted to the college. If we don't even know that there is a course and we are supposed to join the course, then we are like totally lost. But we have taken admission. We know we want to do this. We have come to the college. We have enrolled ourselves. We are now studying. So now we have to keep studying, keep giving exams, keep passing, move up until we graduate from the material world and come back to God. Okay, Prabhu,
Thank you, Prabhu. I think
Hari
you are the
Hari.
puller, Prabhu.
Huh?
Uh, you are pulling us on this direction, Prabhu. So
Hari,
thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandavat
I
pranam,
am,
Prabhu.
I am just trying to push you from behind. I'm not pulling you. Only the Lord can pull us out from material existence. So we are all
Either way.
pushing each other to continue. The important thing is that we have to keep making progress. It's okay if our progress is slow, but we should not regress. Because if we keep progressing, then we will eventually traverse the distance. Even a small effort. And that small effort begins with regularly being in the association of devotees and hearing Harikatha. If you all remember, your first connection with Krishna consciousness was nothing but just sitting in the association of devotees and hearing Harikatha. That's all you did. And when you did that, you didn't have any intention of even being a devotee or chanting or initiation or anything. I didn't have when I came in contact. And I never even thought at that time I will ever get initiated. I thought this is no way I can become like this. Impossible. And I was not even thinking, I was not even feeling bad about it. It was not even something in my mind. But that is the power of association. That is the power of bhakti. Pushes us up without us realizing how the anarthas are going away. How forgetfulness of Krishna reduces and remembrance of Krishna increases. How the darkness of ignorance gradually becomes dissipated. The fog of avidya becomes dissipated by the sunshine of transcendental knowledge. See, your face is now shining with some sunlight. So, this is
No, bro, I'm on the way.
you
I
will
just
become
parked on the
no.
side. Nothing is like that.
So this is material nature showing you are getting illuminated. Hari Hari,
It's
Jai
your
Ho.
reflection, bro. Thank you very much, bro.
Hari
Hare Krishna.
Bol. I am just servant. Anything else? Anyone? Thank you. So tomorrow is Narsingh Chaturdashi. Please observe. So I'll see you all on Tuesday. नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय. भक्तराज
Jai Hind.
प्रहलाद महाराज की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. सामवेद गौर भक्त.
Okay,
See you on Tuesday.
Hare Krishna, bro. Dandavat
Thank you
pranam.
so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare
Prabhu.
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat, Dandavat, Dandavat. Hari Hari. All glorious devotees. Bhaskar, Pooja ji, Sridevi ji, Tarun, Sridhar, Indulekha Mataji, Anand Sundari Mataji, Dipali, my dear sister, Priya, Amit, my dear friends. Wonderful. Thank you all. I'll see